quickly, guys, I just want to talk a little bit about planning, what planning means, and how to plan basically, and how to actually prepare yourself. Yeah, let's talk about those words, planning and preparing, because those words are kind of like synonyms to me. They like mean the same thing. So when you're actually planning, guys, it's very important that you know exactly what is it that you want to achieve, right? And to know where you are at the moment, and figuring out what actually happens in between those two separate steps. So there's a lot of things that actually goes into in between those. I just wanted to discuss a little bit about what actually happens within that space, between those two levels. So you have a plan, you have an objective, right? So you have to prepare now, because there are a lot of things that actually you need to do, right? So obviously when you're planning for success, right? And success goes hand in hand with failure, obstacles, distractions, a lot of things really that can, make you reach your objective and determine how long it's actually going to take. So there's also a time element in between that will actually help you determine how your objective will be reached, or how long will it take for you to reach it, right? So the actions that you are undertaking within that space period are very important for you, so that you can actually sharpen the sword, right, every time you are doing whatever you are doing. So I'm only referring to sales, guys, when I speak. So when you are making your calls, right, and stuff like that, it's important that you actually have responses, right? You actually think through, have a visualization of what kind of responses you will get, because not everyone wants to buy, not everyone wants to sell, not everyone wants to do business with you. So it's very important, guys, how to handle your rejections, because when you're actually making a call, right, especially if no one is, let's say the person that you are calling is not interested in your services, but your impression is very important, right? It's if you are not interested in my services, right, I have to leave an impression, right? An impression, meaning that when I'm making that call, you must, the person that that is actually speaking with me must see the seriousness of what I'm actually doing, number one. And number two, even though they might not sell, but they must appreciate my professionalism when I'm actually at the end of the call. I don't have to say to them, I don't have to ask them for future businesses in that call, but they must just appreciate the call or speaking with me. I must make them feel like, okay, they didn't waste their time when they were answering the phone with me. They have actually gained access to someone that can actually help them with the service that they don't want at the moment, in case they need it in the future, right? It's important that you actually sell the future, right? And also try to let them know what's actually happening presently, right? And how will that affect the future. So you must just have information that will be useful to them, right, without any implications. So you must not always share good news just for you to get something back. Sometimes you must just share good things just for the sake of sharing, right, good things. So it's very important that you make that kind of impressions when you're making these calls. And number two, you must be very, very, very mindful of how you speak and what you say, and listen, because at the end of your, let's say, it takes you like 30 seconds, right, to explain everything to the person that you are calling, what kind of services you provide. So it's very important that 30 seconds you end it with a question. The last thing you do is ask a question, right? Your last sentence must be a question, right? Your question is whether that person is interested in your services or not, right? Today or tomorrow, whenever in the future, or do they know, for example, someone else who might be interested in your services? So when you've asked the question, it's very important that you listen. You listen very carefully to the person that you're calling, to your prospect. It's very important that you listen to their answers, right? And when you listen to their answers, you must accept. Acceptance is the most difficult thing to do. Accepting that someone doesn't want your services, that's a very difficult thing to accept, that you've been rejected, because when you make a call, you want someone to actually say yes, right? It's very important you accept the response that you get from the person, and you don't waste their time trying to manipulate them, right? You don't manipulate them. You just tell them what you want, and you listen to their feedback so that you can be able to understand. Because when you actually listen, you give them time to be more mindful about their response, right? You make them think, okay, what should be the response for this guy? Will I need this in the future? Will I not need this in the future? Like, what should I do now at this point? You must actually make them think that way, right? For you to make them think that way, it's very important you ask very, very, very good questions to them. So that first 30 seconds is very important. So that question there that you ask, which initiate the response, you must make sure that at least the response that you get has like it's a response that you can type down, and you understand in the future what this person said when you actually call them the first time. So when you actually have that information, now you are able to think, right, for the next time that you actually call them, right? There must be a time in between, before you call them again. It must not be like a debate thing going on. So you listen to them, you understand their comment and their response, and you don't manipulate them or persuade them into saving your number, for example, whatever, and you just acknowledge their response, and you just thank them for their time, and you write down their response, right? So when you have written down these different responses that you get from these different people, and now you start now to think, which better way can I handle this answer, right? It's not a rejection, but is there another way that I can actually, handle this reply or this answer from a potential client? And then you start thinking along those lines of rejections or replies that you get. But you must always bear in mind, you don't want to be like, you are not a person that doesn't accept no as an answer, right? Because it's very important, because people, they want someone that can listen, because they can say yes now and say no a week later and say, okay, we must drop this, right? You kind of like have to give them the time, let them know that, okay, you are welcome to make any kind of decisions as we go along, because at the end of the day, you want to be known as a guy that says, that guy is very flexible, right? He's very flexible. You can say anything, you can speak with you can speak about anything with him. He's a very flexible. Flexibility is very important. That's the only way that I have in mind at the moment, but it's very important that you become flexible with people, because people have different needs at different times. So you want to be known as a very understanding individual, instead of being punchy about it, being forceful about everything, because impressions, they really count. They really count in many situations, but not in everything. But especially if you are dealing with things that people value dearly, they have high value in their lives, it's very important that you kind of like respect their wishes, and you kind of like provide the best service you can provide. So handling rejections is the biggest I would say the biggest lead, the biggest thing that can help you, convert anyone, even the one that you've forgotten to. Because sometimes you can receive a call from someone that says, look, my name is so and so, and you've called me last year about this and this, so I saved your number, and now I'm ready to for your service, to use you for, for whatever service that you're selling. So when you actually when you receive those calls from people that say you don't even remember, you might not even remember calling them, but maybe you might remember their name and surname and stuff like that, but it's because of how they felt when they were actually talking to you, because other people, they answer the phone and say, look man, I'm gonna need you, just contact me after 6 months, contact me after a year or two, so they say you receive those kind of responses. Like, it's very important, to try and actually get a timeline, because people don't need their services exactly at that moment, but if you can get them to say when they might need your services in the future, that's very important. Then you can have like a timeline to keep checking up on them, and they appreciate that a lot, right? Obviously you're doing this because you feel like you have something to gain by doing it. You have to do follow-ups every time, so it's very important you kind of like push for those kind of responses, but don't be forceful about it, but be laid back. Let them make you feel like they are the ones that actually called you, even though you are the one that actually called them. So with that kind of attitude, you can actually get a lot of leads today, tomorrow, of any or future leads basically. So by being laid back and learning how to listen to their needs before you answer, because you already know your job, remember, but you don't know how people want your services to be done with regards to what they are buying from you, because other people, they are strict about other things. Others that just don't even care. They just want your services. You do this for them and it's a done deal, just like that. But others, they want different things. People want different things. They want different marketing, they want different styles, they want different, they just want something different with regards to what they want to buy from you, but they just want it done differently. So when you actually listen to them, you get a chance to do exactly what they want, and that is actually what you want, to do exactly what they want, because that's what they want, right? So that's what you also want. So by doing what they want, everybody gets what they want. If that makes sense. I don't know how I came up with that one. So it's very important you plan, prepare, right? And then try. There's a lot of things that are happening in the middle. Try to understand what's happening in the middle of where you are, where you're trying to get to, and how to handle all these obstacles, the rejections, the comments that you get from different people, and how to actually handle them, instead of leaving a negative impact or a negative comment. Try to leave a very good impression with regards of the answer. Try to leave a very good impression, so that people can remember your voice, how you speak, how you sound, and they can get familiar with your voice and many other things like that. So that is actually what I have for now. I feel like, okay, that is kind of like a small definition of how to get from what you have planned and actually your objective. So it's very important you understand a lot of what is actually happening in between in order for you to get there, so you can be able to be strong and handle your rejections properly. And when you actually handle your